Thanks for tuning in to the Too High McFly podcast, everybody. My name is Kevin Lyons.
I'm Anton.
I'm Minnie.
I'm Pete.
Jose Ramos.
Game of Thrones, arguably one of the greatest television series ever created, is wrapping up their final and 8th season in just 2 more episodes. And it feels kind of weird that they're closing it. It feels like we've been listening for like 20 years watching this show. And so this episode, we're going to be talking a lot about what has happened in Season 8 so far. And then we're also going to give our predictions about what we think is going to happen in the final 2 episodes. But before we hit the music, I just want to talk about what Game of Thrones have meant to us over the years. So, Anton, what has Game of Thrones done to you?
It just reminded me that my DUI is 10 years ago.
You think of Game of Thrones and you think about going to jail for fucking driving
No.
drunk?
The thing is, the reason I started watching is because, like, I couldn't drive. What else am I going to do? Binge watch TV shows.
And that was season
I was there
1?
to drive him.
You were there, Pete?
I was there to drive him around.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez.
but, like, no, I was just joking. It's like, it started 2011. Is that what it is? 2011? But, like, it is a main part of our like, pop culture now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when it first came out, it wasn't everywhere yet.
No.
You're like one of the few who's like, oh man, this is a cool show. And that's how I discovered it, because my buddy just like made me binge watch the whole season just right after the season ended. It's like, dude, you gotta watch this. And I watched it and I didn't stop. And I've been watching it ever since.
Yeah, my dad got me into Game of Thrones. I didn't have HBO, and so he gave me his login. He's like, oh, you got to check out Game of Thrones. And he gave me his login on HBO Go, and I checked that out. What about you, Minnie?
It got me to read again.
Really?
Yeah, I've after watching the first couple of seasons, I picked up the entire series of books and finished all of those, which is the most reading I've done since high school.
I think you're probably one of the only ones who's read the Game of Thrones books.
I read it too.
You did too? I know your mom does, because we watch all the Game of Thrones episodes at your house. That's where we do a lot of our Game of Thrones reaction videos, if you guys are listening to us from that. Yeah, we watch that at Anton's house, and your mom reads all the books, and she can't stop talking to us about all her theories and everything she's learning. So what about you, Pete? What did Game of Thrones meant to you over years?
It brought me back to when I was a little kid waiting for like Saturday morning cartoons. You know, every Sunday.
It's not very cartoony.
No, but you know, like you wait for those like episodes, like a new episode's coming up, like what's gonna happen on the next episode. That's what it brought me back to.
Well, that's cool. What about you, Jose?
Kind of like Pete, it's meant an investment, a Sunday investment. It was that Sunday investment outside of football season.
Okay.
Football season every Sunday, I knew what I was doing every single Sunday, and then that's over, and Game of Thrones comes in. And so every Sunday, I knew I was gonna watch this, and it kept me entertained enough that here we are, season 8, and I'm still there every Sunday.
It's kind of crazy that you mentioned that, because before, when I started watching Game of Thrones, I was just watching it by myself in my apartment when there's a lot of downtime, because you have your like, I want to watch this by myself and nobody distracting me, because Game of Thrones is so good. But then when we started all watching it at Anton's house, it became more than just a TV show. That was the first like television series we got together as friends and just watched like continuously.
It's an event.
It became an event for us, and that's really what it came to, like that's what when I think of Game of Thrones, I don't think about just the season. I think about the awesome times we've had just barbecuing at your house. We make an entire day of it. So, and it's almost like watching a football game. Like you said, Jose, you need something else until football season.
And one of the things with this show, and not saying it's the only show that does this, but it's very rare. It's a show that after it airs, you can spend a whole week talking about everything that happened and all these theories and trying to find all these clues for what's going to happen in the future. And there's a lot of shows you don't get that with.
That's right.
Sorry, I didn't mean
go ahead.
And rewatchability. It has a lot of
Rewatchability
factor.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's like a movie, and there's so much depth into the lore of it. It's almost like on the level of Star Wars. There's just so much backstory that we don't even know about, but it's already been written. You know what I mean? It's just like so crazy and rich. I think that's why it does so well. But I think we've covered this part of our introduction. What about you guys? You guys get ready to get into this podcast?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Jacaries. Okay, so Game of Thrones season 7 leaves off with the White Walkers invading the wall. They tore down the wall with the ice dragon. We thought Tormund was gonna die, and so that's where we were coming into season 8, the final season. And I thought I was really impressed with how episode 1 of season 8 opened up, with everybody traveling to Winterfell, right? And it was just really cool shot of like slowly introducing everybody and where they're at in this big long march to Winterfell. I thought they did a really good job doing that. What about you guys?
Yeah, everyone had their moment in the opening scene except for Brienne. She was the only one that was kind of like forgotten.
Yeah, she just
into
showed
the
up like
side.
halfway through the episode and like she was there the whole time,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, she was the only one that didn't have their moment. But then you had Arya's moment watching everyone come in. You had Jon and Dany coming in on the horse,
And Bran.
and Bran
Watching
just staring
him.
off into the distance.
It's also a big
Sansa-
callback too
Yeah,
What do you mean? A big callback to what?
to the first episode.
Explain to me real quick.
Yeah,
because
like-
there's a lot of stuff. Like,
No, like the intro of this Winterfell when everybody's coming in, like the king, and they're all walking into this stuff like that.
that's
It's like a
right.
exact mirror image of the first episode of Game of Thrones where Robert Baratheon came into Winterfell.
That's
And they all
right.
lined up and all
and
that
that's when he
stuff.
was asking Ned Stark to
Yeah.
move his family to
Yep.
King Landon, right? And
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
See,
so it's all coming together, full circle.
well, that's why I love watching Game of Thrones with you guys, because you guys can point stuff out like that. Because there's so much in the. I've seen every single episode, but it's so difficult for me to remember everything I've seen because it's not the only show I watch. I watch so much other shit, and like it gets lost in my memories.
One of the good things here that we got with the first couple of episodes is if you think of Game of Thrones' entirety. So it started off pretty self-contained. The world itself and what we were visiting was small. And as gone on every season, is expanded. People have spread out. People haven't seen each other for multiple seasons.
Evolved.
And here we go into the final season, and it's like condensed again. All these people in one location, all these interactions we hadn't seen for a long time, and new, fresh interactions.
and then I mean, we as the audience have changed since the first season too. Because the first season, you remember, like, what was it, episode 8? When at that point the main character got his head cut off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and everyone's like, "You can't fucking kill the main character? What the fuck?" But now,
They pulled a scream.
yeah, but now we're like, "Why the fuck did he survive? He should have died."
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the main thing though, like that's what George R. R. Martin's like. He tricked us all of making us believe who the main characters are.
Yeah. Oh, that's true, man.
It's a big lie. Like it makes you follow different arcs and stuff like that, and makes you think that guy is gonna be somebody, but it's not. It's actually a hidden like thing.
Yeah, but it also made us think like all the people that are, supposed to be good and survive will not survive. Usually now it's like the bad guys or the mischievous ones or devious ones are the people that survive.
It plays like head games with
Yes.
you. It makes you think that like, oh, just because you like this character, they're probably gonna die, and right when you start to think that, they don't die and somebody else dies. You know what I mean? So you're gonna say something, Jose?
Well, saying kind of playing off of what Minnie said, we have changed as an audience. We go into this show with expectations we expect for any type of show, and then we get that incident, we get the red wedding, we get all of these traumatizing incidents. So when we're watching the first 2 episodes of this season, everything is okay. And I don't feel right about it. Like I felt like I was being set up for something terrible.
Like we're all numb to
We've been conditioned to be like,
fucking your aunt.
yeah, we've been conditioned to expect the worst.
Yeah.
And that's not something we came into this show doing, so we were heavily surprised. Now we're surprised when something bad doesn't happen.
All right. So now that you guys keep on talking about, how we're reacting when we first started, let me ask you really quick. What was the moment, if there is one, that made you think like, all right, I'm hooked on this show? What was it about this series that did that to you? For me, it was when they introduced the White Walkers, because I was watching this whole fantasy land, and I love Lord of the Rings. I love fantasy. I love seeing knights in shining armor and dragons and shit. But it wasn't until they introduced the White Walkers where I'm like, whoa, this is different. And it really got me hooked into it. So what was some of those moments for you guys where you realized that you were hooked on the show?
Probably when Ned died.
Really? When they cut his head
Yeah,
off?
because it was just, it's something that was so unexpected
Okay.
that it was just like, what the fuck are they going to do next?
Yeah, I remember thinking that too as soon as that happened.
Yeah, because there was even a statistic at one point that through 8 episodes of season 1, Sean Bean, Ned Stark, had the most lines and interaction of dialogue through 4 seasons until Tyrion caught up with him. This guy, who was only in 8 episodes, had more dialogue than the entire cast for up to 4 seasons after he died.
So do you think that there's maybe some key information hidden in some of his dialogue that's supposed to talk about how maybe this episode, this season, the series might end?
Well, there's all the prophecies that have been happening throughout the entire thing. There's the frog woman,
Maggie the Frog.
Maggie the Frog, who predicts Cersei's death.
Oh, what did she say about that again?
I can't remember what the exact phrase was, but she predicted that she would lose all 3 of her kids, and that her younger brother would kill her.
Also,
And she's the oldest, right? So Jamie and Tyrion are both younger than her.
Yeah, they're
right?
both younger, but the way that Cersei has always perceived the prophecy was that it was
Tyrion.
the little brother,
Yeah.
which being Tyrion, because he's
The
small one,
Valonqar.
which is why he never liked him, or she never liked him. But there's the possibility that it's actually referring to Jamie. So it's like, okay, what the fuck's gonna happen? Who's gonna kill her?
And well, because I haven't read the books, in the books, is Tyrion also a little guy?
Yeah,
Okay. He's okay. Pete goes right to the racial slurs and imp. You imp. All right. Does anybody else have any moments that they knew that they were hooked?
That was mine too. Because I watched it and I was enjoying it, but when that happened, that's when I was like, okay, this is different.
Okay,
And that's when I became curious of, okay, what are they gonna do if they were willing to do this so early? What else are they gonna do?
Because you put so much investment in that one character and they're gone, they have to build it up with the other characters who are left. And I thought they did that well, because I remember when he died, I was just like, oh man, the rest of the people, like he was our favorite one so far because we knew him from everything.
Well, because I felt so comfortable in
Boromir.
that scene, just basing off of other things I've watched. I'm like, okay, who's gonna bail him out? Who's gonna escape? How is he gonna do it? Who's gonna come in? And then the head went off, and I just stared at the screen. I'm like, what the fuck?
All right, well, we said we were going to do a recap of season 8 so
just did
far.
of season 1.
And we're just talking about season 1, season 2. All right, so back to season 8, episode 1. Everybody's riding into Winterfell. What happens next, Jose? What's the next part?
We get a lot of their interactions. So we get like Sansa and Tyrion
Yep.
interaction over the first couple episodes. We see Arya and Jon Snow, who hadn't seen each other for a long time.
That was a really
season
cool.
1.
They had the knife comparison. She had needle and he had his. What was that, Wolfsbane?
yep.
Oh man, that was cool.
We got that. We also find out over the first couple episodes about. We knew already about Jon Snow, but Jon Snow finds out about Jon Snow.
And now Jon Snow, no.
Well, let me say something though. Like ever since the first season, right? Like we always think Jon Snow is Jon Snow. Like we always like the biggest misdirect, right? Like, are we supposed to follow Jon Snow, or are we supposed to follow Arya or Sansa?
I think we're supposed to. I mean, Arya for me is the true hero of this show.
Arya has been like since the first episode. She's been doing dancing with her dancing partner, Syrio, and stuff like that. She's been like foreshadowed already a lot of stuff since the
That
beginning.
really was like the hero's journey.
Yeah.
If you look
Yeah.
at Game of Thrones, I mean, you start at Arya. She really is the hero's journey. For
But
me.
there's also Sansa too. Sansa's like Sansa was like, as you could say, she's a little bird. Like she was molested, she was tormented by
Yeah.
everything, and then her arc is always a different thing too. She's like, she goes from like being very very vulnerable to now very conniving.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But there's also the traditional hero's journey of Jon Snow, like the true king. The I'm the hero. I'm always fighting. I'm
Yeah.
always like beating people up, and I always win. I die and I get resurrected.
Yeah, basically the definition of started at the bottom. Now
Yeah.
it's out. He was just a bastard. Sansa really didn't like him, and then here he is with the true claim to the throne.
Yeah.
So the final question too: do we have the Daenerys too? Like she also started from nothing to being somebody. So who do we follow? So that's the beauty of the show.
And we
think.
get some of these interactions in the first couple of episodes. So you see the conflict between Sansa and Daenerys.
Oh man,
That's
that was
something
good.
that's played out through these first 4 episodes.
That was like the sister and the new girlfriend not getting along. Like everybody's experienced that in some type of form. And like, man, you could cut the tension in the air with a fucking dragonstone with that shit.
And Daenerys, you know, she sees it. She didn't have the warmest welcome to the North, but you got to look at their perspective, the way they see her, and that's been a big underlining, thing about the first few episodes that we've had this season is Daenerys realizing that she is not loved by these people the way she's been loved by others.
Well, it's not even way that she's been loved by others. It's the way that people have been told her that people will react to her in Westeros. Her entire life, she's been told, oh, people in Westeros, they still love you. They love Targaryens. They want you guys to come back. They'll accept you with open
That's true.
arms. Like, she's been told this since the beginning. So it's not even seeing it from other people in a different region. She was told that people still love her in the land where she has a rightful claim to the throne. She's basically been deceived her entire time, and now she's starting to realize it.
Damn, man. It was so, like, that goes with what you're saying. What hero's journey do you follow? And
Yeah.
then, like, then you have Daenerys watching all the shit that she's gone through, and she comes on your side. Like, you're on her side a lot of it because all that crazy shit that she's been sold into marriage and all that fucking crazy shit. And seeing her break free from that and then just becoming a queen and getting an army, and you kind of follow her. And you've had some. You were talking about this, like how she might end up being the villain, but we'll get into predictions. But it's just so crazy how you don't know which hero's journey to follow, and it's kind of like everybody's own personal preference. You know, we're all on like Team Daenerys, we're all on Team Jon Snow, Team Arya. You know, which hero's journey are you following?
But it's almost like a game. You pick the character that you want to side with and see how their journey goes.
Yeah.
What is this, Clue?
No, but it's like a role playing game.
It
You
is.
pick your character, like, okay, this guy's gonna be my character that I'm gonna ride with through the whole game, the whole series.
Yeah.
Would see what happens.
Would you say it's a Game of Thrones?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Oh.
Yes, many.
It's,
Dun, dun,
it's,
dun.
it's that part in the third act of the movie where they say the title of the movie inside the movie.
Actually, Cersei said that
Does she say?
Yeah.
Did she already said Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
She said the title.
to Ned.
The title.
Like if you played a Game of Thrones, it's either you lose or you die.
Oh, so that was in season 1. They
Yes,
mentioned
yeah.
the name of the show inside the show. All right. So where else are we at on season
Well,
1?
basically, the culmination of those first couple episodes and all these meetings and everything was prep work for episode 3. They know the
White
Whites
Walkers.
and the White Walkers are coming. The Night King is coming.
Yeah.
In there, so it's them preparing, getting the soldiers ready, putting a plan for the innocent the non-soldiers where
Yeah.
they're gonna go, knowing that the big battle is coming, and they're not gonna get the help from Cersei as we thought last season. Well, she said she was gonna help them in there, but those first 2 episodes,
You knew she wasn't gonna
Oh, yeah.
fucking help
Yeah.
them. Come on.
But those,
Sansa knew that
yeah.
already.
But those first 2 episodes, it was pretty much prep for the battle and seeing where everyone was at. Their mindset was at that moment.
All right, cool. Speaking of that battle scene, there was a lot of controversy about that, about how how dark it was, and I can see where people are coming from, especially from us, because when we're doing our Game of Thrones reactions, we have lights on us, so the screen is already kind of hard to see. But I knew that if I was watching this like at home, by myself without all the lights, surrounding lights, you'd be able to see everything. I would have been able to see everything. But it's kind of crazy how it was just widespread. Everybody had the same problem, and the only thing I didn't like was how they responded, how Game of Thrones, how they responded to it, saying everybody
know.
needed to adjust their TVs.
You don't know how to work your TV.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I understand that they needed a lot of darkness for that episode because a lot of it was very effective, and but it's just when you blame everybody else, that doesn't look good for you.
They had a very Apple response.
Well, it depends
They're
on
just
who,
holding it the wrong way.
it depends on who responded. When the cinematographer responded, no, it's not dark. I lit it properly. That's what he said. It's not dark.
Well, the thing is, I
But
understand, but
It's like I think it's the HBO like press spin doctors that
Yeah,
responded to that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
the PR people.
the PR people that responded like you need to adjust the TV, but like the
Damage
cinematographer said
control.
it.
That's what you're looking
You
for.
could see
damage
you could see the behind the scenes. It's lit properly. It's like they actually, when as a visual effects artist, I know they masked a lot of stuff
Yeah.
to make it really dark to give you anxiety.
Well, yeah, that too. Yeah, it's easier to hide visual effects in the dark when they do nighttime scenes. That's why I always give a lot of credit to scenes that have a lot of visual effects take place during the day. When I see that take place during the day and it looks good, you got to give them proper
Yeah,
credit
that's
for that.
crazy.
But as for that, like the everybody complaining about it, I get it. They should have been like, well, we knew this episode was going to be darker. We probably should have put a disclaimer to say, hey, maybe up the brightness on your TV or make sure turn off all your surrounding lights. That's all. That's all they should have
Those
said.
disclaimers help a lot, right?
They do. We have a lot of disclaimers because when people watch our Game of Thrones reactions, they don't understand that we talk a lot during it, and so like last season we started putting disclaimers and letting people know that we're going to talk, and we still get a lot of hate because people always skip over the disclaimers and they're just like, oh, these guys are just listening, they're just talking and yapping and making. I understand we can get obnoxious. I know my whole life I can get obnoxious.
But we also watch it freaking 5 or 6 more
Yeah.
times afterward.
Yeah, after we always watch the episode multiple times after. I mean, because we have a lot of rendering and especially different parts. And then there's other people coming home to your house and they haven't seen it yet, so we all watch it again. And it's all very common when we do that. We just have so much fun doing it. But anyway, Jose, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was to say before we get into the battle itself, what was everyone's favorite scene from the first 2 episodes, from the reunions and people interacting with each other, the calm before the storm?
I would say I definitely really liked the Arya and Jon Snow reunion. I thought it was really cool, and it was nice seeing them compare swords and where they've been, and then because when was the last time they had seen each other?
First episode.
Yeah.
Was it the first episode?
Oh no,
The first season.
Well, at least the
First
first
season,
season,
first season.
and this is the first time that they've seen each other.
And you see the kid in her come out for a split second.
Yeah.
When she runs and jumps into his
and
arms.
also foreshadowing how she could get behind somebody and that God's without even knowing.
Oh yeah.
That's a very sign of foreshadowing of how she does what she does.
And they've been mentioning that since last season. Like, I didn't even hear you come in.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right.
It's Sansa.
Yeah. I gotta say my favorite interaction or scene from the first 2 episodes was the drunken night by the fire.
Oh, that's the best one.
By the
actually.
fireplace.
Oh,
This is where we
yeah.
get Brain knighted. We get all that.
Oh yeah, that's right, man.
interaction.
That was really cool.
That was my favorite scene at all.
Giant titty milk.
Yeah, that's the greatest story ever.
That was he had his Luke Skywalker moment.
Sir Brienne.
Sir Brienne, fucking hell. Let's have a little cheers to Sir Brienne.
I'd knight
pour
you
some shots,
10
man.
times.
Because honestly, because of that moment, I thought that she was going to die in the next episode. Just because they made such a big deal out of that, I thought, oh man, if they're giving her this high honor, she's gonna die.
We've been conditioned.
Man.
We flinch anytime the show does something.
Who else had? Yeah.
What about you, Anton? What was your favorite?
Podrick singing Jenny Voldstone. It's very, very Lord of the Rings. Like when
Wait, was that post battle? We're talking about pre-battle,
no
right?
pre-battle?
Pre-battle. This is still technically the drunken night.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he was singing the
singing?
song. going
Okay,
into
yep.
the-
All right, gotcha.
You remember when Pippin was singing to
When he's eating the tomatoes and it's dripping out of the
Denethor? Yeah, it's like
oh, it's so gross.
very, very grim and just like they're gonna die. A lot of people are gonna die.
My favorite moment is when Theon rescued Yara.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
when he brought her up, she headbutted him. I was like, you know what? You fucked up, but you're my brother. You
Yeah.
did the right thing.
Yeah, like especially when he untied her and then she just immediately punched him in the face and he falls down, then she just helps him back up. Everybody's had that moment with their sibling. All right, Minnie, what about you?
I liked the Sansa Tyrion scene.
Yeah, that's good too.
When
Wow.
it was in the first episode, when they're kind of talking about, or no, the second episode, how the Lannister army is coming up, and they're gonna help them in the north, and Sansa just kind of looks at him and is like, "And you believed her?"
Yeah.
I thought you were smart.
That is fucking awesome.
That was good, man.
That's one of the best Sansa lines.
I will
ever.
say at the beginning of the series, Sansa wasn't very like one of my characters that I liked, and she's grown on me a lot. I like her so much now.
It was because she started off, she was basically like that
Bratty kid.
that snotty, mean
Naive.
girl
I
want to marry the
teenager.
prince. I want to marry the
Yeah.
prince.
I want to be the queen, Daddy. I want to be the queen.
Yeah, but I like how how strong she's become and how in charge of shit, because it's such a far cry from how she started off the series.
And she's the only one that knows how to play the game.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so far this season, she's had the most logical sense out of any of the characters this season.
that's a good point.
Do you want to know what's interesting? Oh, Pete, go ahead.
No, just real quick. She's actually playing Sansa. She's playing chess while everyone's playing checkers.
Yeah.
She's thinking so many steps ahead.
All right,
She,
Bill Belichick.
she's playing a PS5 when everybody's playing checkers, bro.
Well, what I was going to say is what's interesting, if you go back to the first season, pretty much all of the character motivations have changed except for Arya's. Arya was the one person who knew what she wanted to be and worked towards that.
I'm sorry, I think you missaid Batman. Batman. You mispronounced Batman.
It is Batman.
But yeah,
She is so fucking Batman. And I
Yeah.
don't care if people hate that we said that on our reactions. She's fucking. I'm like, that is the Batman journey.
Yeah.
And that's like, and I always felt like the hero's journey is the one that you know their intentions the whole time, like because that's the audience, you know.
Revenge.
And she really, I mean, you guys are talking about Jon Snow like he's the bastard child and he has a right to the throne, but like
Righteous.
it's always the underdog, and Arya's the underdog. She's always been looked at as the runt, and you're like, you shouldn't fight, but then like they had training for her throughout it, and she just kept on
I
going.
gotta ask you one thing though.
What's that?
How awkward was that Arya sex?
The Arya sex scene. I mean,
not as awkward as
Brienne.
Brienne.
yeah, Brienne and Jamie. We'll get to that one. No, I would say the only reason I felt the Arya one was awkward is because we watched her grow up on. That's the thing. We watched her grow. So she felt like our little sister.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That's why it was awkward. She felt like a little sister, and then we're like, "Who's this? Who's this motherfucker? Get your fucking. Who are you? Huh? You know?
It's like, yeah, and like you can understand kind of how maybe like Jon Snow would feel in a way. It's like, yes, she's older,
Yeah.
by number, but to us, to me, she was still that little girl.
Yeah.
She can fight better, but she's still that little girl.
Absolutely. She really is.
it was like scrolling through Pornhub and then finding your aunt.
Man, damn it.
No, that's a different analogy.
To a whole other level. Right?
That's a different analogy.
But
Minnie.
that does fit in with Game of Thrones, man.
Well, I thought it was funny because you speak about Arya. She's had that mentality, that goal, and pretty much she's just been accomplishing everything that she wanted.
Checking
go
lists.
forward, yeah, everything she wanted. John's been on the other spectrum, accomplishing everything he didn't want.
I didn't want to be king.
I never wanted to be Lord Commander. I didn't want to be King of the North.
Yeah,
I didn't want to get laid, but I got laid.
I don't want to get the throne.
Yeah, there's that meme of like John sitting behind the Lord Commander's desk with his head down. Like every time you get rid of a title, and they just give you a more important one.
Man, they give out so many titles on this show. So was that it that we're going to be talking
Yeah,
about
I
favorite
think-
moments up until the battle? Should we
Yeah,
talk
now
about
we
the
can
battle?
get into the battle.
There's one more thing I want to talk about.
All right, what's that?
For me, I just want to talk about like my favorite episode from 1 to 4 so far is not the battle. Is episode 4.
Oh, the post battle.
Like
The awkward sex episode.
No, not really. The awkward sex is when it becomes Game of Thrones again, when they're fighting politics, when Sansa's dropping hints and stuff like that, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, the sneakiness.
the sneakiness. The best parts of Game of Thrones is not the fighting; it's all the conniving,
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a good.
and that's my
good
favorite
explanation.
part, and that's why I like Episode 4 a lot. And like, it's don't get me wrong, 3 is freaking awesome, like all the fighting and Arya kicking ass, but like 4 is where all the shit comes down.
Yeah,
actually.
man.
You know something's gonna happen when without episode 4. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
they know how to properly balance setting up characters for a big action sequence that people are going to die, and then focusing more on the action, and then the next episode they just go right into the politics and the result of all that shit. And you're right, man. That is a big part of Game of Thrones. It's just everybody being fucking sneaky and fucking each other, literally and figuratively, literally and figuratively. But yeah, man, that's a really good note on that. All right, so we get to the battle, right?
Yeah, we get to the battle.
I would say, I mean, not the darkness was a complaint for me. The only other complaint I had was Daenerys just getting lost in the clouds the whole time on her dragon. Like that was like, I get what they were trying to do, but it just felt like they just kept on recycling the same shot over and over again instead of just, I don't know. That was just my impression from watching. I'm like, I get it. She's lost in the clouds. Why do you keep showing back there? The episode's already an hour and a half, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, they already foreshadowed that it was hard to see when Jon is all of a sudden going across the top of the tree line.
Yeah.
It's like you show that he can't see where he is, how close he is to the ground. You don't need to focus on like a 5-10 minute scene of her just flying around like, where the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Fuck.
They also crashed into each other too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, that stuff is cool, but like at least show it in a different way that you've been showing it. It just felt lazy and copy and paste to me.
Also,
That's the
their
only thing.
strategy fucking sucked.
That was my problem with it, because you've got these minds out there. You got Tyrion, first of all, who's supposed to be this great strategic mind in there. Jon has seen the enemy. Others have seen the numbers and the overwhelming strategy of the enemy. So who cares if this is what the
Dothraki?
Yeah, if this is what they do, they just charge into battle. You can't see anything.
They Leroy Jenkins that shit.
It's a difference. Yeah, it's an open field, but it's completely dark. You can't see the enemy. You don't know the numbers. Like, why do you just run into the dark like that? And how does someone say, "Hey, this is not the best thing to do"?
I mean, for that part, it actually makes sense, because if you remember, even way back in season 1, you have Robert Baratheon saying, you don't want to meet the Dothraki on an open field, and they keep on repeating that. So to show how formidable the rights are, you send the Dothraki out in an open field. It doesn't matter if you can see or not. They've been building that like you do not want to see them.
I know, but it doesn't make sense when they're blinded.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, the thing is, let me recap. In strategic planning, remember when they were talking and planning this out, they said they need to draw the Night King out. They didn't say they need to kill everybody else.
No.
So
Yeah, right.
the whole plan wasn't to beat him right away with the Dothraki. It's to tease him, to taunt them. And that's basically what they did. But for some reason, it didn't work the way they wanted to be.
I can give you the reason.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
was dark. And they were outnumbered.
The night was dark and full of terrors.
But the thing is, it still worked because they made him attack. But the problem is, they wanted the Night King to attack. But the army attacked, so they just got flooded like a fucking tidal wave.
Are the Dothraki extinct now? Are they all
No, they
dead?
still have half of it.
Okay.
Yeah, they said in season 4 they have half of the Unsullied, half of the Dothraki.
Okay.
And half
Yeah.
of the Northmen.
Like, the plan is not to win in that first attack.
What it was wondering, where were all those other ones? Because as we get further in the episode and they collapse on the castle, and you see like a few battles here and there, individuals, but if they still had like half of them and there was still half of the Unsullied and all of that, then there should have been a lot more warriors inside of that castle fighting.
I'll tell you where the other half were. They were with Valkyrie and Korg. And the rest of the Asgardians.
They got snapped.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, spoilers. Oh, yeah. No,
But
spoiler
yeah, no,
ban's
but
gone.
that part of the strategy, the Dothraki one, is not what bothered me. They put way too many eggs in the basket for the dragons. The dragons needed to save them from their rights. They needed to, when they was getting overrun, they needed to make sure that the dragons could light up the trench. Like, it was all about the dragons, and the dragons didn't do shit.
I mean, it would be for me too if I had 2 fucking dragons.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing was supposed to be about failure, how they should fail.
Yeah.
And they failed. And that's what the whole thing, that's what the whole point of that.
Well, I
thing
think
is.
that's also what made the moment at the end with Arya killing the Night King. I think that it made that worth it. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
dude.
Because you have to show everybody, like, how the fuck are they going to get out of this shit? Because, like, you're right. Whether you thought that they didn't have a great battle plan or whatnot, this episode needed them to almost have all hope drained. And how else are they going to do that? You know what I mean? I thought that they needed to have the darkness of not being able to see the evil army coming towards them. I thought that was effective. And you know what? People make mistakes in war all the time. They make dumb decisions. We needed everybody at Winterfell to be the underdogs. They couldn't have the upper hand at any point, except for Arya fighting off some of the guys and going full fucking Batman. Actually, no, she went full Darth Maul in that moment.
That was my second favorite part.
Oh, when she's on the walkway and she's just fucking killing all
she's
those
doing
guys.
that, and then Davo is supervising from the stairs, just
Just
watching.
watching.
They show yeah, that's a good strike. That's a good strike. He could even throw a shoe or something.
Yeah, I even like that scene when Arya was inside that other room and she's sneaking up and down the aisles, like avoiding
quiet
all the
place
whites.
scene?
Yeah, I like that.
And that is my first favorite. See, it was when it turned into a horror movie. And she's going through the tunnels, and it gets claustrophobic.
So
And
this
when they
episode
go
is just basically about Arya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Because
Hidden in a lot of different stuff, but it's all about Arya.
But no, it was definitely all about Arya. Because even after she went Darth Maul in the beginning, she ends up getting hit in the head really hard, and she's still fighting. And the Hound's over in the corner. He's terrified because they got all the fire going around.
He's filled with despair, and he's like, "We're not gonna win, you cunt."
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you got Sir Beric just looking over. He's like, "Yeah, well, fucking tell Arya that," and she's still fighting him off as much as he can. And then Dad Mode hits with a Hound, and he's like,
dude.
"Fuck this shit," and just immediately goes after to save her. That was fucking awesome. That is my favorite part of.
Oh,
the
actually, another moment, a more surprising moment for me too, is like they had everybody, like all the women and children and people who couldn't fight, in the crypt, the basement underneath, and then when the Night King started bringing back all those dead soldiers, we just went, "Oh shit, they're in the fucking crypt! All those fucking bodies are gonna come up!" And then we're like, "Wait, are we gonna see Ned Stark? But he doesn't have a head." This is so funny, like how quickly all those thoughts went through all of our minds when that was happening.
And that was cool because I remember having conversation before this episode of like, well, will he be able to bring the bodies from the crypt? Will you be able to revive them and reanimate them, or does it have to be a certain time? And it was like, nah, it probably has to be like a certain time because there's no way Jon Snow, knowing this, they'll put people in the crypts with dead bodies because he's seen it happen. So those are probably too far gone.
Yes.
And then it happened. I'm like, they should have thought of this beforehand.
But it's so funny. We didn't even think about it. It's just like it's one of those things where we felt like that was the safest place, and then you just found out that is probably one of the most vulnerable places, especially with the Night King just being able to raise dead bodies. You know?
No, Bran knows about it. Remember when he was going to the
Oh,
frickin'
that's true. That's true.
the Three-Eyed Raven's tree? Remember, like skeletons were rising up because of the fucking Night King. You know what I'm saying? Like
Skeletons
they-
killed Hodor.
Bran
man.
knows everything already, but he just didn't want to because the Doctor Strange rule.
Yeah.
He's like,
If I tell you, it
if
won't
I tell
happen.
you, it won't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Or it leads to my theory,
Yeah.
which we'll get into later.
He is really Doctor Strange.
Yes.
It wasn't even about Bran. Like, that was disappointing in Jon. Like I said,
Yeah.
Jon's had the most exposure. He's seen the most of what they can do.
He's seen them when they're fighting already, not when they're like being brought up.
No, he did.
He did.
When they
No,
were,
only in Hardhome when like he goes like this. But
right,
he,
but he knows that he can bring them back to life.
yeah, but he thinks he's only the fresh ones, not like skeletons buried for thousands of years.
Yeah, that's right. It would just be like
E-
Army
ev-
of Darkness.
Everybody he fought was like freshly brought up. But we got to talk about the MVP of the episode.
Arya.
Like if Arya was Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen is Theon Greyjoy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, we need to make that
hit
that,
the
that
point.
Jordan logo, but with Arya with the knife.
It's
and
already
just
out.
slap it on fucking shoes. Really?
already
Is it?
out.
Is
It's
it?
already
Oh,
out.
that's
Yeah.
fucking great. That's so fucking great. That was so cool with that wisp of hair over the one of the White Walkers, and you know, like, oh shit, what's about to happen? She just comes flying out of the darkness like Batman. It's like, it's just like so great that moment where we're like, yeah, and then he grabs her by the throat. We're like, no, and then she drops the knife, and we're like, yeah, and she grabs it and kills him. That was, man.
Honestly, my heart dropped. Like when he grabbed her by the neck, I was like, no. 'Cause she's my.
Yeah.
Her and John are my favorite characters
Yeah.
in this. And so as soon as he grabbed her by the neck, I'm like, no, you can't do this. You can't fucking do this. And then they dropped it. She caught it. And like I remember I threw my pen down. I jumped up from the chair.
Yeah.
I was like,
but she's
And that
Batman.
was the same move she used when she was sparring with Brienne, right? And she just dropped it and then picked it up. She's like, I could have killed you, but I didn't, because that would be really morbid. But anyway,
Again, everything foreshadowed since old episodes to Arya.
Man, and it's cool because not only did she just save Bran and stopped everything, Jon was about to get burnt up by that fucking ice dragon too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it was just so crazy how that happened. I'm like, in hindsight, we should have known that was what was going to happen because we kept on thinking and waiting. Like, what's going to be the Gandalf moment when they're all overcome and there's no hope? What's that Gandalf moment when they're going over the hill? What's that Thor moment when he comes down with Stormbreaker?
Oh,
and
you
says,
shall
"Bring
not
me
pass."
Thanos." What's that moment going to be in this? And of course, you're gonna have to take out the Night King. I just didn't think that they were going to do it so like halfway through the season. I thought they were going to be a bigger part.
I had a feeling with because I was like, if they're doing the battle right now, either he wipes them all out or they eliminate him. There was really no other outcome for this if they were doing the battle in episode 3. So I was like, you can't just kill off everyone and have the Night King for the rest of the season. So I'm like, this has to be where he gets defeated, but it was a matter of how does it happen?
Well, it's also a prime example of turning everything on your head what you think is going to happen. Because I remember when I first started watching Game of Thrones, I remember when we were being introduced to the White Walkers, I'm like, these are going to be the bad guys of the series. So all that bullshit political Game of Thrones thing where everybody's screwing over each other, they're going to have to drop all that to fight the Night King and the White Walkers. That's what I thought the main battle of the entire series was going to be for. But as it turns out, it's not. It's just going to be like, because how do you go fighting the White Walkers and the Night King, like the most like formidable evil people? They should basically be in fucking Cobra Kai, the fucking White Walkers, dude. Like, how do you go from that now? If you can defeat that, fucking Cersei's gonna be a goddamn fucking breeze. Like that's the only thing I'm questioned about. I'm like, I thought they were gonna be the main bad guys.
I mean, I was gonna say they were a red herring. Like they wanted you to make. They wanted you to think that was the true threat, but it's all about the throne.
It is about the throne, but when the White Walkers are a bigger threat than Cersei, if they're able to defeat that, it's going to be like facing Cersei is going to be nothing.
Here's
No,
the
not
thing.
really, dude. Cersei has politics in her head. She has bait. The White Walkers don't have bait. They just attack.
Yeah.
Cersei has political stuff. She brings in innocent people too in the mix. So that's why it makes it hard for
'cause
good people to win.
Yeah, because she's using the citizens of King's Landing now as fucking cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
And here's the thing, look at it. So if they went and they took care of Cersei first, they could have wiped out Cersei early on. It wouldn't have been a hard battle.
Okay.
But now doing it in this order, you get 2 tough battles because you get the battle against the Night King, which was a hard battle. They get so diminished and depleted from
That it
that
balances
battle,
out.
then now it makes the Cersei battle more of a challenge. So now you get 2 battles that are a challenge. With the other way, if they went full strength at Cersei, they would have wiped her out. Mm-hmm. And then you would have had a good battle with the Night King, but that's one squash and one good battle. Now
true.
we can get 2 good battles.
And did we forget the fact that we just lost another dragon too?
Yeah. We
You know what I'm
did.
saying?
That fucking sucks, man. When are they gonna stop putting fucking armor on these dragons?
Well, Sansa told Daenerys to wait,
Yeah.
and she didn't wait.
That's
Look
right.
what happened.
They needed that. That's right.
Listen
Which-
to Sansa.
Which
Again.
shows how smart Sansa is now.
The one logical mind so far this season.
Yeah. So that now that we're getting into what episode 4
Episode
was,
4.
because we're post battle now,
Yep.
and we're seeing it's opened up on that funeral, man. That was a really good scene. I liked that, and I liked how all the dead bodies were lined up like an army. You know, like you had the different battalions of like different groups, and I don't know, man. I really thought that was really cool and powerful. Everybody got, even though everybody had their moment of death in the last episode, they had their moment of mourning in the next episode, and I just thought that was really cool. I like that.
Man, Little Bear.
Dude, how did we not talk about that?
Little Bear.
She went out like a goddamn fucking champ,
Yeah.
dude. You gotta give her that.
Fuck
like,
yeah.
I didn't think that she was gonna die, but once I knew that she was gonna die, I was just like, get that eye, girl. Fucking stab his fucking eye out.
Oh, the actress Bella Ramsey was so fucking happy when she read that scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was like, my character has to end one of 2 ways with how badass she is. I need to either be sitting on the throne or I need to have a badass death.
Oh,
and
that's
when
cool.
they gave her a badass death, she was so fucking happy.
Oh, we were too. I mean, like, not happy that she died, but we just happy, like, it was really her character, how hard she was as a little kid. And then, like, I mean, even if we got fucking sideswiped by a giant and then he picked us up and he's squeezing us, would you really have the courage and thought process to just stab his fucking eye? No, you'd be be dying. She
Not only
fucking
that,
did
she
that.
charged him.
Yeah,
she
she
could have
did.
left. She was like, "You're not getting away from me, motherfucker."
Yeah. Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
fucking little bear.
Yeah, little bear. Oh man, did we see her at the funeral? I think
Yeah.
we did, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they did. It was
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow
Lighting
that
her up.
let her.
Yeah, man, that was a really good opening for that episode.
No, her house went out big. Between her and Jorah, they went out as champions.
Yeah, they did. Fuck yeah. And then we go into the celebration. I love that. That was like so fun to see everybody just celebrating,
With
beating.
some Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, with some star. Somebody made a Starbucks trip, and it's also. Hey, do you also think that goes with the theory that actually Game of Thrones takes place in the post-apocalypse and this like rebuilding, and they just found some Starbucks cups and we're like, we'll use these for potties so we don't have to wash our fucking steins.
It's not Starbucks, guys. It's an independent coffee shop.
It's yeah, but it looked like Starbucks, bro. But anyway, yeah, that was cool because it was fun to see them party. I mean, they're always drinking wine. That's what they've always done throughout the series. But seeing them party after all this tension has been built up over the seasons, it felt like we were partying with them. And in hindsight, we were because we drink a lot when we're watching the episode. So it was really cool to see that.
And
Then, go ahead.
you get to see the difference between this drinking and the drinking in episode 2 before the battle. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
like nervous. We're probably gonna die drinking, even though there was some good moments. And this was like, yeah, we fucking did it. Like
This is
celebrated.
mourning and fucking did
Yeah.
it drinking.
Yeah. I was gonna say, and then we got Tormund with the fucking short-term memory loss, talking about Jon Snow getting on the fucking dragon. It's like, who the fuck gets on a dragon? A fucking king. I was like, dude, you got on a dragon fucking last season, dude.
Oh, it's a
Oh,
foreshadowing
when
of
they all
the
got
Mad Men.
rescued, right? Yeah.
It's like,
When
you
they
got-
lost the first dragon.
Yeah.
It's actually foreshadowing, which is like, you're a king, and the other person that goes into a dragon is a madman. Who else goes on a dragon? It's Daenerys.
Here's my problem with this. All right, so they're going through Daenerys' point of view. She's watching Jon being cheered on by his soldiers, and they're like, yeah, and she's seeing the people surround him, and that's usually who you surround for your leader. You know, she's like seeing him as a leader, and so her power is feeling threatened. And because he has already revealed to her his true heritage, like, hey, I'm your fucking nephew. You know what I mean? And she doesn't want to lose that power. And she's just like, promise me you'll keep it a secret. But she still wants, like, she doesn't want him to be in power, but she still wants to be in love with him and marry him. But if she does that, he's going to be fucking what is the title of a queen's husband? Do they just call it the queen's husband, or is it always king and queen?
King and queen.
Well, for her, and they say it in the episode, she pretty much wants ultimate power. She doesn't want to share it.
Yeah. But,
So even if they get married and if they find out that he's Targaryen, you know, it's kind of like that split power. But she wants all say, numero uno, like no one else even questioning what she says.
I mean, like, what marriage isn't like that? I mean, like, not that I like not to rip on marriages, but like, seriously, she's established her dominance. She knows that she wants to rule. He knows that, and she knows that he doesn't want the titles and all that stuff. He wants to be like a leader. He wants to protect people.
But the problem is, and like she says, is how other people see it. He doesn't want it, but if they find out he's
He has a better
Targaryen,
claim.
they're probably gonna gravitate more towards him than towards her, even if they are married.
I get that, but she's got to swallow her fucking pride, because if she doesn't like that, maybe she should do something to get the people on her side like that. You know, because honestly, dude, like, I love Daenerys. I really want to see her come out on top on this. But without her dragons, she ain't shit.
Yeah, dude. But the problem is, though, she fucking helped the fucking North. Without her,
She did. Yeah, that's true.
they're all dead.
Yeah.
And she has no fucking thanks for it. Nobody gives her praise. They all fucking think she's a bitch. But dude, she lost half of her army just to save him. And like, what? He needs a little bit of like, people should thank her and fucking kneel to her for
Well,
this shit. You know what I'm saying?
they should, but she should also learn that to play ball too. I mean, like, you have to learn these mistakes. You have to be able to be humble a little bit. You know?
It's a yes and no. She definitely deserves some gratitude
Oh,
for doing
absolutely.
it, but it's also a self-preservation thing, because she wasn't going to be exempt.
Dude, even Arya said it too.
from-
We
from the-
need her dragons.
Yeah. But like, even if she didn't help them, she was still eventually going to have to battle them anyway. So it's a self-preservation thing. She needed them, they needed her, but she was an X factor in the war. So there should be some gratitude, but there's an underlining selfishness, which they should be, of survival.
Dude, she was fucking doing it right. Everybody, she was listening to her advisors. If I was her, dude, I was like, I'm gonna go rip on King's Landing already.
It was, but the thing is, we already know about the rules of good leaders and
Yeah.
shitty leaders. The ones that are craving power are not going to be good leaders. The ones that don't want the power but do the responsible thing, those
Yeah,
are the
but-
ones that are going to be the leaders.
But she listened to every single advisor.
That's fine, but when you let her when she lets us into her head, her true feelings, when she's like, you saw how panicked she was when she was talking to John, and she's like, promise me you won't tell anybody and make Sam promise. And that's some fucking crazy ass bullshit, dude. That doesn't make a good leader.
No, and then she's not even listening to her advisors. Like when she's getting ready to go to war
No.
with Cersei. No, but she's losing it.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is like, dude, she had a full army. Mm-hmm. She could have taken King's Landing before she even went to Winterfell. Mm-hmm. That fucking first fucking meeting in King's Landing, she could have taken King's Landing.
And
already.
why didn't she do it? Because she listened to John because he's a great fucking
No,
leader.
she listened and see what happened. Now she lost all her army. She lost everything. She could have had King's Landing already and then helped the North. That point in time, she could have had it. This is before the fucking king head went down. When they were meeting up, they could have fucking killed Cersei right there. They could fucking took over King's Landing. But she fucking did it because she listened to Tyrion and Jon. And now, this is what's fucking bugging her mind. Like, dude, I listened to all of you and now I have nothing.
Well, that's the thing
And
is
that's what's
because
fucking
all she
pissing
did
her
was
off.
listen and not lead. If you're a good leader, you don't need to listen to the other people. Like you know what has to be done.
No, the biggest advice was fucking Olenna Tyrell what told her, you're a fucking dragon, be a dragon. Stop listening to all this bullshit. If you're a dragon, just fucking conquer.
Which is what John is doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, because she keeps listening to fucking people telling her not to be a dragon. And that's why I feel for her. Like, dude, she fucking.
I mean, I'm not saying you don't feel for her. I'm just talking about like it's so obvious that John is the better leader, and if he's like, I want to be with you, and I don't want to rule the people. You already know how to do this.
Yeah.
He bends the knee to her. You know what I mean? Like
Twice.
you're my queen, and she should just be like, okay, well, even if people do support you, like you're the king, she knows that it's gonna be both of them together.
Yeah, but the
that's
problem
what
with
that's
that,
like.
though-
It's like the Batman v Superman thing. Just fucking talk it out.
No,
You
but
know
the
what I
problem
mean?
with that, this is Game of Thrones. She's actually right, dude. If you don't want the thing, don't tell anybody. Because the more you tell people, it's going to fucking spiral into craziness. That's what's happening right now.
But-
you don't want it, then fucking don't want it. But the
Then-
problem is, the more he doesn't want it, the more he gets it. And that's what's pissing her off.
Well, the thing
Because,
is
like-
that the reason why he's the true heir. And,
Yeah, but he doesn't want it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. She's not recognizing that. You know what I mean? She's not right. Like if you were a really great leader and king, you would give it to the who it's due to. You know what I mean? Other than that, it's like an uprising. It's like a coup d'état. You know, it's
And to go with that thing, there's an easy solution. He has the right to the throne. He doesn't want it. So literally, you win the fucking battle. He gets the right to the throne. Is like, I don't want to rule anymore. Here's your new ruler.
yeah.
Plus, all he's saying is, I need to tell my family because family is
It's not
important.
about
to him.
that, though. It's not about who tells who. I'm just saying, like, Daenerys could have had this fucking throne a long time ago.
Yeah.
If she already fucking ransacked King's Landing in the beginning. But
But-
people keep telling her, you're not the queen of the
Well,
ashes.
the thing is,
But
if
the
she
problem
made
is-
if she made those decisions already, she should have already come to terms with what was going to happen as a result of that, which would be not flipping out on John and be like, "Don't tell anybody." Like
if
you
she
know-
already took the throne before all she had to do is take the throne, kill Cersei. Who fucking cares about King's Landing people? They're fucking bitches and idiots anyways. Kill all of them, then fucking go up the north and help the north with a fucking full-blown army of all the fucking kingdoms. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but she would have taken everything by force from people who don't necessarily except for the people in the north, care
Yeah.
who's on the throne. So then all of a sudden you have somebody coming in from a foreign land, attacking their land,
They-
fucking shit up.
She's not attacking the North. She's going to help the
No,
North.
But what I'm saying is that everyone else. So there's still houses that we haven't been introduced to that all of a sudden,
I'm just
fuck,
saying
this foreign ruler came in with fucking dragons and took shit over. Fuck that. Let's fucking go kick her out and put somebody that from our land that we trust to come in.
Let's give Pete a chance to talk. He wants to say something.
You brought a good point, Minnie. Like with Samuel's father and brother, they didn't want to bend the knee to Daenerys, and look what happened to them. That goes with the whole point with them not bending the knee.
The thing is, though, what I'm trying to say, when you follow the art of war, you have to fucking conquer.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
if you
true.
don't fucking conquer, people are gonna ran over you. See what happened to her right now. She lost fucking Missandei. She lost half of her army because she didn't fucking follow her true instinct of just fucking conquering.
Well, let's talk about this for a second because I think we've exhausted what has gone on through episode 4. A little bit of predictions, right? And so we've talked about how the show makes you believe it's going to go one way, and then they turn you upside down. And so it almost feels like they're trying to make Daenerys feel like the Mad Queen that everybody has, said that she's going to be. Do you think that's a misdirection, or do you think she's actually going to, go full fucking crazy?
Personally, I think so. So we've had this discussion before. I started seeing clues for it last season.
Mm-hmm.
There was just little things, little decisions, a little bit of bloodlust in her and some of her actions, even though they weren't very obvious about it.
I love that term, bloodlust. Keep going.
Yeah, that I was
doesn't have
like, oh no, okay, we might be heading there. And then now we're seeing a little bit more this season. I can understand with what's happened why she would lose it. It's completely understandable. I can see her perspective on it. But then there's just little actions besides the jealousy, which is never a good attribute. But her interaction with Sansa when she was trying to clear things up. Her interaction with Jon
with
Snow.
the hands,
Yeah, with Jon
scene?
Snow. You see this switch in her where she's pretending and trying to be all nice. And when it's not going her way, she switches it up. So when Sansa tells her, like, okay, what about the North? And questions her, all of a sudden, she removes her hand and she gets a little colder.
Yeah.
And then with Jon, she's just like, yeah, I love you. She's like making out with him and all of that stuff. And when she sees that she's not getting the reaction from him, she just turns cold. She's like, I told you what you have to do.
Yeah.
And walks off. So there's this switch, this like two-facedness to her
well,
right
she's
now.
right, though.
I agree with Anton with that. Like, she's right to kind of. I wouldn't say that she's turning into the Mad Queen because everything that has happened to her, the way that she feels is completely justified. Like, she's not going crazy. She lost 2 of her kids. She lost 2 dragons. She lost half of her people. She lost her closest advisor who's been with her since damn near the beginning. Like, the way that she's feeling is completely justified. Plus, put in the fact that she's been told that she is loved by everyone. And then as soon as she goes back, she's going to be welcomed with open arms. And she's not getting that response. Like, she's been lied to in that aspect. Everything that has happened to her is brought her to this point. So I wouldn't say that she's necessarily mad. If there's any Mad Queen, it's Cersei.
Yeah, you're right. You're right with the whole calling her crazy. I mean, that's not the proper thing. She does deserve a lot of more credit, but I think the humble thing to do is to not get mad about it. Now, we're not saying that she's becoming crazy. What we're saying is that they're giving flags that might be the direction that she could go. And Jose, right now you want to say something?
Yeah, let's say I didn't say she's turning into the Mad Queen. And like I said, I understand with what's happened, it's understandable where she was at. I'm just thinking she's becoming more ruthless, turning more into a
tyrant?
heading towards like a ruthless tyrant, not so much crazy,
Yeah.
but more angry and feeling like justified, not like out of her mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again, it's understandable. But if this anger of everything that's happened takes her to the point where all of a sudden she becomes a ruthless tyrant, not a Mad Queen, that's not a great alternative either.
And this also goes into the major rule with every relationship: do not get into a fight when you're fucking wasted. Right? Like this should have been something they talked about the next morning, not when John is stumbling off the bed and making his way to go make out with her. This isn't the best time to bring up this talk, but you can say like, "Hey, listen, I want to talk about this tomorrow." But like, I mean, because essentially if they are going to get married, he's going to be king anyway. Whether she's ruling it, he's ruling it, they do it together. If their relationship is as strong as we want them to be, that's what it should,
I just want to make a joke quickly.
All right, I got 3 hands raising up. Who wants to make the joke first?
Jon Snow getting off that bed like Killmonger. Hey, auntie.
What I was going to say is like, it's almost like she did it on purpose. She's like, "Are you drunk?" Sees him stumble. She's like, "This is my moment." He's inebriated.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's times to be forgiving, and there's times to fucking go fucking ape shit, devour people. You know what I'm saying? Like, the problem is she already knows Westeros doesn't like her. Mm-hmm. She already knows that. What's fucking holding her back? You know what I'm saying? Like, she already knows the North doesn't like her, the South doesn't like her, Cersei doesn't like her. So even though she claims that Iron Throne, she is in a fucking no-win situation. And what's happening is just she keeps losing and losing and losing when she's being nice. That's why fucking Missandei said, Dracarys, fucking burn them all.
You know what should be stopping her is her mindset and her morals of what's guiding her to this point. She's had this belief against the oppressed. And right now, a lot of those people, they're just under Cersei's control. Like, she is their queen. They don't have that much of a choice. So if she's willing to sacrifice them just to get to her, she's going against everything that she has been going against the whole time.
Yes, but the problem is, though, it's a no-win situation. If she fucking succumbs to it, she loses. If she fucking kills everybody, she loses. Mm-hmm. So why not just fucking kill everybody, dude? It's like,
if you're gonna lose, do it the badass way.
You're gonna fucking lose anyways. The problem with Cersei, dude, she already burnt everybody else, and people still loved her. She burnt the fucking the fucking Septa Baelor.
Do they love her?
No, they don't love her.
Does he though?
But she is queen.
All right, Minnie wants something to say.
Queen.
But here's the thing and this is what Tyrion and Varys are saying and warning her. It's like, yeah, you can go in there, you can burn up everyone in there, but then who are you gonna rule?
Yeah,
that's why she's not doing it, because if she goes in there, she has nobody to rule, which is the whole reason that she wants it. She wants to be the queen. She wants to be the figurehead of Westeros.
Basically, here's what I think. All right, I think that Daenerys' fears and her concerns bringing up to Jon is well deserved. I agree that she deserves a lot more credit and all that stuff, and that she should. I mean, with everything that she's done, she has proven that she is a queen who's willing to listen to people and rule, fairly. If you could, it's not going to be the same as her father, But I don't think that conversation should have happened when they were drunk. I felt like that is a sober argument and a sober agreement, because in the end, it's both going to be the same result. You love this man, even though you know that he's your nephew. You still love him and want to be with him. You're going to rule together, and you're going to listen to him. You're bringing that up in with a lot of good points. They just shouldn't have done it when he was drunk. All right, Anton.
See, my point is, it's not about that talk. It's not about anything. It's about just ruling. Daenerys is put in this position where she's in a no-win situation. She can't win being just. She can't win being ruthless. Mm. With fucking Jon Snow, too. Fucking guy's an idiot, too. He's like fucking basically Ned Stark all over again. He's like, I don't want this. He's going to die for that. Mm-hmm. And that's what fucking Sansa hates. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can't be just and you can't be ruthless. You have to be equal. You have to be at the same thing to be a good king.
But I mean, this goes, last point of this is kind of with what Minnie was saying. So she wipes them out to take out Cersei, King's Landing. The North sees this, and everything that they're thinking is justified. So then they're not going to go under her rule. So then is she going to go wipe them out also?
It doesn't matter, though, because she has Jon Snow already.
Jon Snow is not going to take that, though. Knowing you've seen who Jon Snow is.
Yeah.
If she goes in and wipes out everyone, you think he's gonna be like, "Oh, hey, it needed to happen."
Fuck no.
All right.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude, if fucking Jon Snow and Arya, they behead like Ned Stark right in front of you, they would fucking burn that shit like crazy too, dude.
Not John.
All right, guys. Well, we've talked a lot about that. I think it's time to get into the predictions. What do you say, Jose?
Let's do it.
I think we should. We there's only 2 episodes left, and for some reason, it still doesn't feel like it's enough time to give this show a proper ending. So, how do you want to approach these predictions? What do you think, Jose?
Well, I've got a couple questions here that we can ask, and we can see how everyone feels about it.
All right.
So, the first one, just stemming right off of where we ended in episode 4. How do you think Daenerys reacts to Cersei's actions? She lost a dragon. She beheaded Missandre in front of Daenerys and basically says she wants her to bend the knee. How does Daenerys react?
Daenerys, how she's gonna react? Well, she kind of already reacted a little bit. I mean, like we saw them kill Missandre. How do you say her name?
Miss Sunday.
Miss Sunday. Miss Sunday. They
Miss
killed
Sunday.
her. Miss Sunday. They killed her. I think I don't know. Because it's fucking crazy. What is gonna happen next? And I hope it's something that we're not gonna see. Minnie.
She ain't gonna do shit until John gets there because she's only got like 50 people.
Yeah, and that one dragon is still there hanging on.
I don't think
distance.
that's correct though. I think she only showed up with that much people, but she has more people.
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah.
Well, she lost half of her people in the Battle of Winterfell, and then she lost however many people on the ships from Euron's attack.
And they lost the wildlings because they decided to go back north
Yeah.
because all they wanted to do was just defeat the
They wanted to be free.
They wanted to be free, and now they have no other obligations to join them with the fight for King's Landing.
And they're taking Ghost.
Well, the biggest thing about Game of Thrones, though, all of them are idiots. You know that, right?
Yeah, but let's get back to his question and talking about how is Daenerys going to react to what happened at the end of the last
So
episode.
I'm going to that.
Okay,
I'm going
okay.
to that. It's like they're all going on impulses, right? Mm-hmm. Where all they have to do is assassinate fucking Cersei, and they have fucking Batman.
They do.
All
But
they
I-
have to do is tell Batman to fucking kill her, and Batman will kill her. in a
That is,
minute.
but then that's going to be the obvious power that they just use over it. Here's what I
But what
think.
does Daenerys do?
What does Daenerys do? Yeah, that's right.
How does she react to what just happened?
I think here's what I think. She already went against Sansa and saying, "No, let's not give them time. Let's just go ahead and attack now." And that didn't work out. I think that we're actually going to see her be a little bit more humble, and I think she is going to wait for Jon and just be like, "All right, you know what? I was wrong. What do you think we should do?"
Yeah, I think, judging by the face she made at the very end of it, which is like you're all fucked right now, face. Is,
She's going full Shazam.
Yeah, I think John does show up, but I think her patience weighs thin, and she attacks ruthlessly on King's Landing and overtakes it. But she goes no mercy after everything that happened.
Damn. Well, that would be. Well, then we still have one more episode.
This
left
goes on
after
with
that.
this goes on with my theory.
Well,
though.
because if she goes no mercy, then there's I think the battle with John. John's not gonna like that, and then it's the battle of who gets the throne.
Well, I also think it's not so much about what Dany's gonna do. I think they set up some stuff in this, which is, because Cersei's pregnant with Jaime's baby, right? We think first it was rumors, and we think that she was faking her pregnancy, but it seems like it's real now because now she's making it feel like she told Euron, "Oh, I'm pregnant now," and they just had sex. But Tyrion knows she's pregnant, and I think that's gonna go to Euron's head, and I think he's just gonna fucking kill her. I think that's possible.
well, Euron is a younger brother too, which goes by the prophecy of Valonqar. The younger brother will kill her.
But anyway, has anybody else not given what they thought Daenerys is gonna do?
Daenerys gonna go ape shit.
Yeah.
No,
Short
but
and sweet.
when she gets back to her fortress after she walks and sees Jon again, she's gonna get calmed down. But I think she's gonna like attack, like straight up, probably like the front forces 1st. Mm-hmm. Then she has to pull back because of all the spears and harpoons are flying. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, Minnie, do you have any thoughts on Daenerys' reaction to what's gonna happen with Cersei?
I mean, I told you, she's not going to do anything until John gets there.
Okay.
And I think she's going to cry into John about what happened, and then they're going to formulate their plan and shit. And she's going to go ape shit.
ape shit.
No, she's gonna go back to Essos.
Also, I just want to say, back into episode 4, if John was riding Rygel, he would have saw those ships. Just want to
Well,
throw
here's the
that
thing.
out
Do you
there.
think Rhaegar actually died? Because we did see all the multiple spears go into Rhaegar, and he went into the ocean.
One went through his neck.
Yeah, one went through his neck. He's
dead.
Yeah, he dead. He dead. Never mind. Never mind. I think that
With
also.
the fishes now.
I also think that because John's dragon is dead, you still need that connection of another species on your side. And what is that? That's Ghost, right? Yeah. And Ghost shoot off. I mean, John shoot Ghost
fucked
off
Ghost over.
with what? But the thing is that in every movie or show where somebody has built a relationship with a dog type character and they realize I have to let the dog go for the dog's safety, and so they're kind of mean. They're just like, shoo, go off, and then the dog disappears and you never see him again until the third act when the dog comes back to save his life. So I think Ghost and Tormund are gonna come roaring back at some point when they feel like John needs it and you feel like he's gonna die.
Tormund's gonna come when he finds out his big woman was hurt. Her
Yeah.
heart was broken.
Her heart was broken. That's right, man. I mean, there has to be something done with that because there was so much build up towards it. If you're gonna build up a sexual tension between two characters, whether you like it or not, you're building up sexual tension between characters for a reason. And if it doesn't get paid off, what was the whole point of the build up? If it's just to mislead you,
For him to get swooped by Jamie. That's the whole buildup.
Yeah, but the thing is, how did he react to it? Another piece of ass came right in front of him. He's like, "All right, I forgot about her already."
I think Jamie has been-
No, that was a misdirection.
What
The him like saying that I always go back to Cersei to Brynn at the end of it. That was a misdirection. He's doing that to protect her so she doesn't go after him
That's true.
because he's going there to kill Cersei.
Yeah.
And if she goes, she's going to try to stop him. She could distract him, and then he could die. He's basically sacrificing himself and trying to make sure that she doesn't follow him.
Okay.
Speaking of that, that actually is one of my other questions.
What is it?
Is how does Cersei meet her end if she does?
If she does meet
Before
her
you
end.
answer that, I still have a Daenerys prediction
All right, what's your
that I haven't said yet. Remember, we were talking about this. I think he's gonna go back to Essos
Wow.
and grab more dragons.
Oh, you think so?
There are more dragons.
Well, they hinted towards that in the what's happening next episode. You saw Euron looking up into the clouds and you hear a dragon roar. And there were some rumors that there's going to be an even bigger dragon. Right?
Mother of dragons.
The mother of dragons.
bigger dragon, armored dragon, and I say more dragons.
Is Daenerys going to turn into a dragon, Minnie? That's
God,
what you
I
were bringing.
fucking hope.
Unless she's Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat, she better not be turning into a damn dragon.
I hope so, just so I can laugh and know that everybody's going to be mad. Not that I want everybody's going to be mad, but I just think it would.
That might be the moment in the reaction video where I walk off.
But anyway, what your prediction question?
Yeah. How does Cersei meet her end if she does?
Well, I think it has to go with what you said. The frog lady was saying that you're going to be killed by your younger brother. It has to be that. It has to be that. But I think along with that moment of either Tyrion or Jaime killing Cersei, I think we're also going to get to one of the greatest predictions I could ever come up with. I think it's going to be amidst the battle. And Jaime and Tyrion are going to be overcome with troops. And Jaime's going to reach down to Tyrion with his metal arm. He's going to pick up Tyrion, and he's going to move around in a circle and take out everybody with machine
Wrong
guns.
movie, Kevin. Wrong movie.
He's going to take out everybody with machine guns. And then Tyrion's going to look at him and like, I'm going to get that arm. I mean, they already have coffee cups. Why can't they have machine guns?
Yeah.
I don't believe this is going to happen, but I know a theory floating around for a long time was that Jaime is gonna kill Cersei and then reveal that it was Arya as Jaime the whole time because she is on
Can't
her
be that,
list.
though.
Yeah, but Jaime would have to die at that point.
Yeah,
in order
Jamie
for
has
her
to
to
be
die.
dead.
So I don't think Jaime survives the season.
Unless Tormund comes in and kills Jaime, and then Arya just takes his face.
No, this is my prediction. So Jaime's going to have a hand in Cersei's death. So what I think is, Arya is going to be the one to kill her. But I think what's going to happen is there's going to be that reconciliation scene between Jaime and Cersei. Jaime's going to try to talk her out of this, try to get her to step away and everything like that. She's going to be unwielding. She's going to this is where I am. Fuck you. This is what's going to happen. And then he's going to see Arya in the distance, and he's going to distract her long enough and sacrifice himself so that Cersei can die. So Jamie's going to be the reason that she dies, but I think Arya's going to be the one to kill her.
And do you think that Cersei dying is going to be in this coming episode or the final episode?
I think it's going to be in this episode because the final episode needs to be figuring out who's going to rule, and it's going to be either Dany or Jon.
Okay.
And I actually think that Sansa's going to end up on top of that.
And that goes into actually my only real prediction that I can really say is that I think, like a lot of series finales, it always leaves the audience unsatisfied. I could say is a nice way to put it. I have a feeling that they will end the series very strongly, but I think the audience is gonna be torn down the middle. They're either gonna love it or they're gonna hate it, and I hope this decision is not made to give the audience not what they were going to suspect, because when you if you do that throughout the series, that's okay, but when you're trying to close something out, if you're doing something just because you don't want the audience to see what's going to happen, I hate that. You're trying to be smarter than the audience at the risk of giving a very good ending.
I have a question though.
Okay.
How can you think Arya's gonna kill Cersei when she already had her moment?
That's something that I was thinking about too. I mean, like Arya had her moment where she
had a big
killed
kill.
the Night King.
She can't have two moments.
And she can't have
Or
two moments. She can't have two moments, but does that go into the predictable thing?
Yeah.
Or does that go into like, all right, well, I mean, we're going to depend on Captain Marvel for everything, you know? Like, what is it?
But is it predictable? Because we're saying she already had a moment, so we'll suspect someone else to have a moment, so it'll be going again. It's a loop.
I still believe that.
It is a little. Here's the thing for me. I am perfectly okay with Arya taking out Cersei and just being the true hero. It's just like we already had that moment with the Night King, and they should give us something new.
Yeah.
But something that means well, that all audiences will like, because that is the toughest way to end a series, is something that everybody loves, because that's so difficult to do with a series with so many different heroes' journeys to follow. If you just pick one to be the ultimate winner, the other people who are with all the other characters, they're all gonna hate it. So I think it's just gonna be split down the middle, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be split down the middle, but I think if Sansa ends up getting it, it's not going to be 50-50.
It'd be the happy medium.
Yeah, because at the same time, Sansa's not necessarily that person that you followed through the entire series and liked, but she's gotten the best to the point where she can rule with a level head.
Because especially if we're talking about the best part of Game of Thrones is the politics.
Yeah.
It seems like she understands that more than anybody.
Yeah.
Arya just knows how to fucking kill people and sneak up on people like Batman. But does she know the whole political game
No.
as much as Sansa does,
Yeah. No,
Jon Snow doesn't know either.
Yeah.
It could easily be Sansa gets the throne, Jon ends up becoming like the head of the King's Guard or Queen's Guard, or even Warden of the North. Like, he's going to be in a role to protect people.
But it's
because
all
that's
about
what he
claims,
does.
though.
Yeah.
It's all about claims.
What if Jon dies?
Yeah, Jon and Daenerys has to die.
You think so?
They have to die for Sansa to rule, because Sansa can't rule unless two Targaryens are dead.
If they do die, I think there's going to be some type of resolution between the tension between Daenerys and Sansa. I think there will be like a handoff to the throne.
Going in off of your thing, technically, Jon doesn't need to die for Sansa to get the throne. Because if you look at it, Dany dies. She's the Targaryen. She has the right to the throne. Except for at this point
She
in time.
actually doesn't, though. Jon has the right to die.
But no, what I'm saying is at this point in time, as far as we know, only 8 people know that he's a Targaryen. Mm-hmm. So if most of the people don't know that he's a Targaryen, he doesn't have claim to the throne. Sansa is still technically married to Tyrion. So if Cersei dies, then it would go to Tyrion, which would allow Sansa to get the throne.
Well, here's the thing. If we do go to where Sansa is not going to have the throne and we're going to Daenerys, and say if she does go a little bit more on the Mad Queen side, how I could picture her going towards that way is taking out Bran and Sam. Because if Jon's not going to be quiet about it and she knows that those other guys know, she's going to want them taken out.
Yeah.
Okay, final theory.
All right, go ahead.
How it ends. Daenerys is gonna get.
Well, wait, this is your final theory. I think you still have a couple more questions to ask, Jose, right? For predictions.
Yeah, I mean, some of them we covered, so it was.
I know you want to talk about the mountain and.
No, that goes
And the
to
Hound.
my final theory.
Okay.
Yeah, with that final theory.
Yeah, so it's like one of the questions I have here is how does that play out? So we have the Mountain Hound battle that we've been waiting for seasons.
And I think fire is going to take a place in that battle.
So this is what goes inside my final theory. It goes with the mountain fight. It goes with Cersei dying, and it goes with who gets the throne.
So you're just covering everything.
No, this is the final theory. I'm telling you.
hey, man.
I got everything.
Let him speak.
So contradict it or whatever, fight it. But this is what I think is gonna be the final thing. Cersei's gonna die, but it says the Valonqar is gonna kill Cersei. It could be a little brother, so it's a big misdirect. So it's not gonna be the little brother you think. It's not gonna be Jaime. It's not gonna be Tyrion. It's gonna be Euron, which is also a little brother because he is the little brother of the fucking the Greyjoys.
Wait. So you think that what she was told by the fortune teller was not that your little brother, you're going to be killed by a little brother?
A little brother.
Oh, so you
And
think-
also, there's also another little brother.
Well, I said that too because I said Euron's like, wait a second, everybody knows that you're pregnant and you didn't tell anybody yet, so that I'm not,
But the thing is, it has no gender, so it still can be Arya. It still can be Arya. But the problem is with Arya killing her, she already had the moment. But the thing is, there's also another person Arya could kill, which is the Mountain, which is what I think. The Hound is gonna battle the Mountain, and they're gonna have a stalemate, and the Mountain's gonna able to kill the Hound. But the Mountain is all gonna be so fucking weak. Arya's gonna fucking do the final blow for the Mountain.
Okay.
And that's what kills the Mountain. And for the final thing, I think Daenerys gets the throne. But the problem is, she's a Targaryen. She's pregnant. She dies by childbirth with Jon Snow's baby.
What does this have to do with the Mountain and Arya? You said Arya's going to kill the Mountain. So were you saying that Arya is going to take the Mountain's face? And
No. The Hound and Mountain, we're gonna have Clegane Bowl. They're gonna battle each other.
Yeah, I know that.
But the
he's
thing is-
given the ultimate ending of all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In one.
Okay.
And they're gonna fucking fight each other, which they're gonna have a stalemate.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought you were saying that leading into the result of that battle is what's gonna get into Cersei dying. Okay.
No. They're gonna have a stalemate. I already told you how Cersei dies. Like it's either one of the young brothers, but the Mountain and the Hound, we're gonna have Clegane Bowl. When Clegane Bowl happens, they're gonna fucking fight each other, and they're gonna actually almost kill each other. That they're both almost dying.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is they can't kill each other because they're both too hurt. And Arya's gonna do the final blow to cross off the Mountain off her list because the Mountain is in her list. And then how Daenerys dies is by childbirth by Jon Snow's baby. Because she gets the throne, but she goes crazy. But like then.
Okay, I think that was a good strategy. So I will give my overall kind of covering everything instead of going through the rest of these questions because we'll cover everything. So I think with that fight, I think they end up injuring each other while they're going through, kind of like a stalemate, like you said.
I think fire's gonna be involved, but keep going.
Yeah, Arya comes in. She's the one who finishes off the Mountain. The Hound isn't dead at this point yet, but after she finishes out the Mountain, the Hound dies. So they have like a little interaction before he dies. And the Mountain dead, her and the Hound. I do think Jaime is involved in killing Cersei. Like, I know I said the theory with Arya, but I don't believe that's gonna happen. I think it is Jaime that's involved in it. I think by the end of this, Daenerys will be dead, and I think she goes so ruthless. Jon is always about doing what's best for everyone. That I think his hand is forced to take her out because she becomes so ruthless towards the innocent, and then he ends up on the throne at the end against his own will.
Wow. Going back to the Hound and the Mountain and Arya, I think I mean, we've been thinking that the mountain is going to kill the hound and Arya is going to kill the mountain, right? I think we're also going to get a moment where you think the hound is dead and Arya is going to come out on top, but there's going to be that moment where somebody's sneaking up behind her and she could lose because she lost sight of something. And then the hound, in one last breath, saves Arya and then he dies. I think that might be a possible type of situation that might happen. You know what I mean? Because they keep on building up that the hound is just like he's in despair and then he sees Arya in danger and then he gets activated again. So I think that there's gonna be this flip-flopping around where the hound and the mountain are gonna face off. The mountain is gonna injure the hound to the point where you think he's gonna dead, and then like she's gonna battle the mountain, and then at some point she's gonna get maybe a little bit cocky, maybe not, but either way, I think her demise is gonna be creeping up right behind her, and before it strikes, unbeknownst to her, the hound is gonna save her, and then he's gonna have his death.
What if it's someone else on her list? I can't think of his name right now, but Cersei's advisor. What if he tries to be sneaky behind her? Yeah, Qyburn.
Okay,
That might be the
something
one, yeah.
like something like that. Either way, I
can see
think
that.
I think that the Hound is gonna have one last breath to save Arya, because Arya's been on the top, to our surprise, so much. Like when we saw her in the battle in episode 3 or 4, in episode 3, when she was fucking going Darth Maul up on top of the gas, taking guys out, we didn't expect that. We also didn't expect her to take out the Night King. She does it, and then I think it's making the audience believe that she's infallible, and I think that she's going to get to this point where she's not going to look behind her and something's going to creep up behind her, and then the Hound's going to kill her. I think that's the Hound is going to die saving Arya.
That's a good one. Now, Pete, what is your overall theory, including the bowl, Cersei's death, and the throne?
No, it includes everything that you guys said, right? But I'm adding Grey Worm to it too, because Grey Worm saw the mountain decapitate Missandei.
Yeah.
And I know he's gonna want a piece of that. You know.
He's gonna teabag what's left of his balls onto the fucking mountain's face.
No, talk about.
By the way, can I also take a moment just to recognize that there's been a lot of dick jokes this season inside the show? But anyway. All right.
The whole show's built upon dick jokes.
Yeah.
What's your overall theory, though, for everything?
I think everything's gonna become a free state.
Oh,
Daenerys is gonna be left alone. Jon just wants to be in the north. Everyone's gonna doesn't want to deal with Daenerys. She's gonna be the Mad Queen by herself. That's just me.
You just think it's gonna end with a tragic story?
It's gonna be
tragic.
tragic.
A tragic beginning.
No more
Yeah.
Seven Kingdoms?
'Cause it's almost like how Oedipus Rex. You know if you ever read that play years ago. It's like the king marries his mom. His own mom.
Damn.
Yeah, he didn't know, but that's how it's kind of. It's almost
The Oedipus
similar.
complex.
The Oedipus complex. That's what it is. And the mother kills herself, and the king blinds himself and lives like a lonely life. That's how I see it.
All right.
How Daenerys.
Minnie, you look like you wanted something to say.
Pete just gave me an idea for the Clegan Bowl. So the mountain's basically undead at this point.
Okay.
So the mountain just absolutely wrecks the Hound. Arya sees that. Grey Worm wants a piece of the mountain. So we see the mountain versus Arya and Grey Worm, two of the supposed best fighters in this world, just take on this one guy.
That would be fucking badass. And then when they're
I would
about to
buy that
die,
ticket.
the Hound. I really hope the Hound saves Arya when she's not looking. That is my main. I hope that we get that moment, but whatever. I'm not that well knowledged in Game of Thrones, even though I've seen every single episode. But like I said, there's a lot of information that just goes over my head because there is so much of it, and it's been so long since I mean, keep in mind, I've only seen every single season and episode up until like the last season once. I've never gone back and rewatched all of season 1, all of season 2. I've only done that recently when we started doing the Game of Thrones reactions, when after we're done and we're uploading and editing, we're watching them again. That's the first time I've actually watched the episodes more than, once. But
I got a wild card for you too.
all right, buddy. What's that wild card?
Before the last scene, you remember the baby White Walker that got resurrected by the fucking Night
Craster's
King?
kid.
Craster's kid. We never saw that baby grow up.
I think the White Walkers aren't dead either. I think
not
they're
dead.
coming. I think they're coming back. There's no way
You
that
get a little White Walker hanging around doing just playing baseball in the fucking north or shit like that. It's like
I mean, I mean, for me, a lot of that goes into like a lot of problems that people had with like Supreme Leader Snoke in the Star Wars galaxy. How they killed him off before you understood what his background was. Even though they did give us some backgrounds, like how he was started with like the kids of the tree and shit. All right, you guys are both battling. Who wants to talk for it? Minnie had his.
I just want to say, going off of Anton's thing, the Night King was never actually the Night King. He was just the Night Prince.
Oh shit! We got another king in the house.
What I was gonna say is the Night King basically good regular season villain, but when they got to the playoffs, he was disappointing. So not only did he run from a fight with John, he was like, "I don't want any of that smoke. Like I'm gonna back it up here."
One and done.
But then, he just got wiped out before he can kill Bran in there. So I just wanted to point that out. That all this build up and he disappointing.
Well, real quick, I mean, like Bran has been such like a prophet of what's going to happen and a big part of the show, especially when it comes to the Night King. But now that part of the story is done, what is Bran's role? What does he do for the rest of the series?
Well, remember, this already happened a long time ago. They already killed a long time Night King, and that's why they brought up the wall. So it's just history repeating itself. So there's always another one.
Yeah, there's always another one.
There's
That's
always
right.
another one.
But what I'm asking is, what is Bran's role now that they have defeated the Night King so far?
To be creepy.
He's the real villain.
He's the real.
What
villain.
if every scene for the next 2 episodes, he's just somewhere in the background, like where's Waldo, and you just have to find him, like so.
you just hear the squeak of his wheel approaching, and you're like, oh god, here comes a fucking weirdo.
But I'm sure maybe he lets them know that it isn't the end of the White Walkers and Night King, which leads to them maybe whoever ends up on the throne has to put in an order to rebuild that wall because of a future threat.
Well, they're gonna have to find a new way to build that wall. They should ask Donald Trump because the shit
Make
came down
Westeros great again.
Make Westeros great again. All right, guys. We're starting to get towards the end of this discussion, and before I just close it out on everybody, I just want to know if you guys have any final thoughts on what's going to happen for the rest of the season. Any final thoughts?
A lot of people gonna die.
A lot of people gonna die.
People gonna die.
All right.
We have our Deadpool going.
We have our
in there, and right now, I believe it is actually Dan that is in the lead with the most accurate predictions out of the people that have died so far.
Let me just say something.
Pete, actually.
Daniel de Sangre, he's one of the Too High McFly co-founders, and unfortunately he couldn't be here tonight. He lives an hour away. We're trying to set up a Skype session to have him join us here. He loves Game of Thrones. He is right a lot about the theories, but he just couldn't join us tonight. And so, we're gonna have another podcast about Game of Thrones before the season ends and have him back on because he knows his shit and he loves Game of Thrones more than anybody.
He's backward hats guy.
Backwards hat guy in our Game of Thrones reaction. So basically to wrap everything up, thank you guys so much for listening to the Too High McFly podcast. You guys can reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram at Too High McFly Productions. Let us know what some of your theories are, and how Game of Thrones is going to end and what it meant to you. Also, if you guys are listening to us on Spotify or SoundCloud, travel over to our YouTube channel. Check out our short films, our Game of Thrones reactions, our movie reviews, and give us a like and comment and let us know how we're doing.
This podcast is also available on YouTube. So
yes, this podcast is also available on YouTube. With that being said, my name is Kevin Lyons.
I'm Anton.
I'm Minnie.
I'm Pete.
I'm Jose Ramos. And make sure you tune in Sunday night for our reaction this Sunday and next Sunday.
On YouTube.
On YouTube. And again, we do talk a lot. We joke around. And if that's your style, enjoy it with us.
All right, guys. So that's it. We'll see you guys on Sunday.
We like to party.